Let me paint you a picture. You've just eaten your body weight in turkey, your waistband's crying for help, and the family's pretending to be interested in football. In my house, this is when the real Thanksgiving tradition kicks in, binging the Friends Thanksgiving episodes. 22 minutes of pure serotonin spread out over 10 episodes that makes us laugh, cry, and burp in equal measure. After years of rewatching these 10 holiday masterpieces, I figured it's time to carve them up, rank them, and see which one truly reigns supreme at the table. I'm Colton from Nostalgia Mode, and this is my personal ranking of the 10 Friends Thanksgiving episodes. To kick us off at number 10, we have the one with the list, where Ross stupidly decides to make a pros and cons list to decide between Rachel and Julie, because of course he does. Immediately, this one's got a big problem. It's way more focused on the overarching Ross and Rachel will they won't they than any kind of Thanksgiving hijinks. But Ross and Rachel as a story device was always so goddamn engaging that it doesn't really feel like a boring plot diversion at all. Thing is, there's basically zero Thanksgiving stuff here. The group's all split up, there's no dinner, there's no parade, there's not even a sad turkey sandwich. What saves it though is how much stronger the side plots are compared to some of the upcoming entries. Monica's mocklet debacle is great. I love Phoebe saying this must be what evil tastes like. And Ross's debate between Julie and Rachel, while not really a debate because you know it's fucking Jennifer Aniston, still finds a way to turn into some pretty fun and entertaining stuff. Ross can be a scumbag sometimes, but it's also hilarious and painfully relatable. If I'm being totally honest, the only reason this thing is even considered a Thanksgiving episode is because Monica's trying to make Thanksgiving recipes using that fake mocklet bullshit. I just needed a 10th episode, alright? The video title sounds better when you're ranking all 10, but I understand. That's why it's at the bottom of the list, all right? It's still funny, though. Chandler's "my diamond shoes are too tight" line makes me laugh every single time, and watching this right after the first season's Thanksgiving episode really shows how much better the writers have gotten at nailing each character's voice. But yes, at the end of the day, this feels more like a Ross and Rachel plot episode than one of the classic Thanksgiving hangouts. Still, Ross and Rachel's will they won't they remains endlessly entertaining, and the jokes land for the most part. So if you're binging all 10 after stuffing yourself with turkey, this one will keep you laughing even if it doesn't really provide that cozy Friendsgiving feeling.
Oh, I know. This must be so hard. Oh no, 2 women love me. They're both gorgeous and sexy. My wallet's too small for my 50s, and my diamond shoes are too tight.
At number 9, we've got the one where Underdog gets away, where the gang's first Friendsgiving goes off the rails thanks to a runaway balloon. Finally, we've got an actual Thanksgiving episode to talk about. Sadly, though, it doesn't start feeling very Thanksgiving-y. No decor, no fun, cozy outfits, and to make things worse, Chandler opens up the episode with some jokes that, haven't aged super well to my ears, but despite that, it is still fun and kind of quaint to watch the very first Thanksgiving episode of the series and see where all these fun traditions started. The biggest strength of these Friends Thanksgiving episodes has always been, in my opinion, when the whole gang is stuck in one place, preferably Monica's apartment, bouncing off of each other and dealing with Thanksgiving holiday-related hijinks. And this one, unfortunately, takes forever to get to that scenario. It just feels like a pretty standard early season episode until the final act. A big plus about these early season episodes, though, is there's a lot of novelty in seeing them all so young and still figuring things out. Even the writers clearly hadn't totally landed on everyone's distinct voice yet, but you do get those early sparks of greatness. Chandler hating Thanksgiving, Joey's weird modeling gig, Ross trying to talk to his unborn child. It's all here, it's just a little clunky. But once they're all together the morning of Thanksgiving, it finally starts to feel like what these episodes would eventually become. The Macy's Day Parade bit with Underdog the balloon is genuinely funny, and the ending, oh my god, the ending with Chandler's speech about their new kind of found family hits so much harder now after Matthew Perry's passing. It's far from the funniest or the most Thanksgiving-y, but there's a real heart here. You can see the bones of what would become an annual highlight. It's charming, but definitely not the one most people would remember when they think classic Friends Thanksgiving. Coming in at number 8, we have the one with Rachel's other sister, where Amy, Rachel's narcissistic other sister, shows up and wreaks havoc on the Friendsgiving dinner. Big points right out of the gate for opening on the Macy's Day Parade. Love that. More Thanksgiving related shit, please. And Joey missing his spot in it with his Days of Our Lives co-stars is actually one of the few B plots in these later season episodes that actually feels related to the holiday. Thank you. The big selling point here is Christina Applegate as Amy, who absolutely kills it. She's such a perfectly awful version of what Rachel could have been if she never left Barry at the altar in season 1. But if I'm being totally honest with you, she does wear a little thin for me as the episode goes on. There's not a whole lot of variety on her insults towards everyone, and her constant insulting of everyone we love goes from funny to all right, we get it pretty fast. But I have to shout out David Schwimmer's physical comedy here, which, fair warning, is going to happen a lot throughout this video. The dude is just so funny in the later seasons of this show, and his ability to just turn really basic lines into comedy gold, simply using his face and his eyes and his voice, really impresses me, and this episode leans into that a ton. Again, it takes a bit to get into true Thanksgiving mode, since the group is separated for the first half, but once everyone's finally at Monica's apartment, the energy picks up big time. We get an actual Thanksgiving dinner scene, which is kind of crazy. It took this many episodes to get there, but I'll take it. The whole who gets the baby if you both die plotline does feel pretty melodramatic and overstays its welcome for my taste, but hey, that melodrama is an essential piece of the Friends DNA. If you really didn't enjoy it, you probably wouldn't even be watching this video. It is a little ridiculous watching a grown man in Chandler pout outside the door like a fucking crybaby man-child. It's ridiculous, but obviously because it's Matthew Perry, it's somehow still a little endearing. Overall, this episode is entertaining start to finish. It's never boring, but also not top tier hilarious. The ending joke where Chandler fake scolds Rachel and Amy to prove that he can be a good father is pretty cringe. I'm not really the biggest fan, and that line where he whispers into Amy's ear how aroused he is just like, not to be an SJW, but that's pretty fucking gross. Like, your incredibly attractive wife is literally right there, guy. Like, it's fucking weird. It's not funny. Still, it's a solid later season entry. It's funny enough, it's Thanksgiving adjacent, and packed with great moments, even if it's not filled with all-timer material.
Well, what do you know? I guess I'll be the one who dies first.
So at number 7, we've got the one with Chandler in a box, where Joey forces Chandler to spend Thanksgiving inside a big wooden crate to atone for kissing his girlfriend. This one starts out as kind of a tough sell if you don't remember all the lead up and context to the Joey, Chandler, Kathy love triangle. Luckily, they recap it well enough that you can still follow along. It just unfortunately takes up valuable Thanksgiving shenanigans time. And there's also a weird amount of talk about Christmas throughout for a Thanksgiving episode, and far too many melodramatic subplots pulling everyone apart, which sadly for the most part ends up making Thanksgiving feel like more of a backdrop than usual compared to the other ones. The first 2/3 of this thing are really just your standard Friends episode. It's fine enough, but the final third cranks the Thanksgiving shit up to 11. Once everyone's in Monica's apartment, it goes from a 6 out of 10 episode to a 10 out of 10 episode. Suddenly, it's wall-to-wall jokes, actual Thanksgiving dinner, football, the whole vibe just finally clicks into place. Monica roasting everyone in the room one by one is iconic for a reason, and the Chandler in a box gag stays funny way longer than it has any right to. Plus, the emotional goodbye with Kathy as he waves goodbye with his finger through the air hole is genuinely sad. It might be the only time Chandler's Thanksgiving melodrama actually lands for me personally. If the first 2/3 matched the final act, this could have been a contender for the best of the bunch, but as is, it's just a strong mid-tier Thanksgiving entry with an absolutely killer ending.
Fine, judge all you want to, but married a lesbian, left a man at the altar, fell in love with a gay ice dancer, threw a girl's wooden leg in the fire, live in a box.
At number 6, we have the one where Chandler doesn't like dogs, where Chandler, pretty obviously, doesn't like dogs, and has yet another melodramatic freakout. It also has the 50 states game. This one kicks off exactly how I like it. Everyone is together in the apartment prepping for a nice Thanksgiving dinner, with Chandler having everyone try to name all 50 states in 6 minutes to kill time. Chandler's 50 states game is an all-time great B-plot. It's funny, it's relatable, it gives everyone something to do in one location, and it feels like a game that only existed before smartphones ruined the world. It's kind of quaint to see because nobody would do this shit now. Each character gets a chance to react to the game in a way that fits perfectly within their character, and every reaction also doubles down being genuinely funny. Of course Ross can't finish it and obsesses over it, or of course Phoebe completely gets sidetracked with a bunch of shit. There's just moment after moment that makes you go, oh, that's classic Joey. Oh, that's classic Rachel. Also, not that this adds anything to the episode as a whole, but Jennifer Aniston looks unbelievable here. This is the best she's looked in any of these Thanksgiving episodes, in my humble opinion. Just saying. It definitely helps add to the rewatch value. And then we get to the primary plot with the dog, which can feel a little absurd sometimes, like how could anyone not notice that there was a dog around, but it still finds a way to get some genuine laughs out of me, and Matthew Perry's delivery sells every second of it. But the other plot going on throughout this episode is not as good. The Rachel Tag romance is, I don't know. Is it just me or what? I feel nothing between these two. They just have no chemistry in my eyes whatsoever, and it brings down the whole episode more than once. Am I alone in feeling like these two should have cast someone else? This just doesn't work. But the whole thing stays in one location, which is a big plus for me personally. Even though sometimes it doesn't feel very Thanksgiving-y because there's no dinner scene, there's no parade, there's no football. Still, it's peak comfort Friends. It's fast-paced, it's funny, and familiar. And it has one of the most iconic lines, not just from the Thanksgiving-themed episodes, but the show as a whole.
The big question is, does he like you? Right? Because if he doesn't like you, this is all a moot point.
Huh. A moo point?
Yeah, it's like a cow's opinion. You know, it just doesn't matter. It's moo.
We are officially entering into the classics now. Everything from here on out is a banger, and it becomes increasingly more difficult to put a definitive ranking on them. But with that said, at number 5, we have the one with all the Thanksgivings, where the gang reminisces about their worst holiday memories, like Chandler losing a toe and Joey getting his head stuck inside a turkey. The cold open here nails it. Everyone's too full to move after dinner. That's the most relatable Thanksgiving-themed feeling, and I'm so glad the show takes a second to address that reality. Too often, these Friendsgiving dinners have them all yelling at each other or playing games afterwards, but the reality is, more often than not, they would just be sitting around quietly trying not to fall asleep. I also really appreciate the flashback structure here. It gives the episode a unique flair and taste that stands out from the usual apartment-based chaos. All the flashbacks here are pretty great, with none being outwardly the worst. I really love Phoebe's Civil War flashback, which is ridiculous and hilarious and definitely not a thing that Friends does in its kind of sitcom setup. That's more of a That 70s Show thing, but I really appreciate its inclusion. I also love that these aren't just reused clips. They shot all new scenes with era-accurate costumes. Chandler's goatee, Joey's leather vest, Monica's fat suit, which, yeah, obviously is a bit mean-spirited to today's standards, but it's all a goofy love letter to their past, and I can overlook this one as opposed to some of the other jokes coming up. This could have easily been a lazy clip show, but instead it's one of the most creative Thanksgiving setups they ever did, and it stands out among the rest when you're binging all 10 in a row. Even though it breaks my everyone in one place rule, it totally works because each flashback is genuinely funny and shows a different side of these characters. And obviously, you kind of have to just ignore all the retconning that's clearly happening. Like, if Monica and Rachel were this close on Thanksgiving just a few years before season 1 of the show, it's a little crazy how distant they were in the pilot episode, but whatever. We're not here to be taking any of this seriously. We're here to be laughing at our favorite actors do silly things in silly costumes. Sure, Chandler's melodrama rears its ugly head again, but this time around it's redeemed by that final scene. Monica dancing with the turkey on her head, prompting an involuntary "I love you" from Chandler, is just an all-time scene and one of the most iconic moments from the entire series. It's really nice that it's also in one of the Thanksgiving episodes. It's kind of this nice little thing you get to have. And to kick off our Friendsgiving Mount Rushmore, we've got the one with the football, where a friendly game of football turns into a full-blown sibling death match for the sacred Geller Cup. From the moment this one starts, it's an all-timer. Thanksgiving football is a perfect holiday tradition to riff on. And this episode is peak 90s comfort. Everyone looks so damn cozy and stylish. Like, goddamn, they all just look so cool. The outfits give it this nostalgic warmth that just hits, and the fall outdoor aesthetic is unreal. They covered this whole set in these fake yellow and orange leaves that make it look like the world's coziest Hallmark card. Thanksgiving is a notoriously tricky holiday to decorate for because you don't have all this iconography like a Christmas tree or an Easter bunny. It's just kind of generic fall decor, but this one took that fall leaves idea and fucking killed it. This is by far the vibiest of all the Thanksgiving episodes on this list. The entire gang being together the whole time also gives it this laser-focused energy. Everyone's got one goal: win the Geller Cup, and it's so fun seeing that collective chaos. The only diversion is Joey and Chandler's competition over the Dutch girl, which adds just the right amount of spice without taking the spotlight away from Monica and Ross's blood feud over this stupid troll doll cup. And that's something I really appreciated on my rewatch for this video. The focus. A lot of these Thanksgiving episodes get bogged down by the side characters or random romantic subplots that drag attention away from the fun of the gang. But here, it's pure, uncut Friends shenanigans. The jokes, while still hitting really fast, just aren't as funny as some of the upcoming episodes, but the vibes here are immaculate. This is the quintessential Friendsgiving. This is the episode that pops into your head the moment someone mentions the show's Thanksgiving tradition. The only reason this isn't number one is because a few of the other episodes managed to surprise me more with just how funny they were. And honestly, this one might just suffer from overexposure a little bit because I've probably seen it more times than any of the others combined. Still, for my money, this is the Friendsgiving episode. This is the one that transcended the show itself and lodged into the collective consciousness of middle-class white people everywhere. The show was already popular, sure, but this episode, this is the one that hit Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas Is You levels of cultural tradition.
Come on, man, you ever want to do anything since you and Janice broke up?
That's not true. I wanted to wear my bathrobe and eat peanut clusters all day. I wanted to start drinking in the morning. Don't say that I don't have goals.
At number 3, we've got The One with the Rumor, where Brad Pitt guest stars as a former classmate who co-founded the I Hate Rachel Club with Ross. I'm just gonna come out and be completely honest right at the top. The next 3 episodes could all be number 1 on this list. I had a horrible time trying to shuffle them around, and in the end, I ranked them purely on how much they made me laugh out loud on my rewatch for this video. And this one, while good, there's a pretty massive running joke that doesn't really land for me anymore, but we'll get to that in a second. Once we leave Joey's apartment and actually get to Thanksgiving at Monica and Chandler's, this episode is firing on all cylinders. It's a great example of how Friends can juggle multiple storylines that overlap perfectly. Jokes are bouncing between subplots, characters are playing off of each other, and everyone's getting a moment. My personal favorite bit, though, has to be Joey's solo mission to eat an entire turkey by himself. Matt LeBlanc is so funny here. He hasn't really gotten the shine that some of the other actors have on this list, and he's technically on the sidelines of the main plot throughout this episode, but he is so fucking funny here. He squeezes every drop of comedy out of the time he's given. It's awesome. And of course, we've got to talk about Brad Pitt. Man, what a guest appearance. He slots right into the group like he's been there the whole time. He's clearly having a blast, and he actually gets some killer lines. But I can't lie, I hate his leather jacket. If the one with the football earned extra points for capturing peak 90s fashion, this one loses a few for forcing us to sit through these early 2000s eyesores. Alright, so it's time to address the elephant in the room. If you haven't watched this episode in a while, the big running gag centers around a high school rumor accusing Rachel of being transgender, which she doesn't take very well. And while yes, it does lead to some genuinely funny moments from the cast, it just hasn't aged that great as a joke. It's very much a product of its time. Different rules, different tone. And I'm not here to moralize or cancel a 20-year-old sitcom. But yeah, for something that's basically the core joke of the episode, it's just not that funny, and it overstays its welcome for me personally. Thankfully, David Schwimmer again absolutely saves the back half. His delivery throughout the whole librarian kissing revelation makes me laugh every single time, even if we're technically laughing at a grown woman having multiple relationships with high schoolers. Again, different time. I'm not a Karen. Different times.
Well, you did start that rumor about Ross making out with Mrs. Altman, our 50-year-old librarian.
How did you know that?
I'll admit, this episode might sit a little higher for me than it does for some other people. My fiance and I actually bonded really early in our relationship over this specific episode. We quote it to each other all the time, and we make a point of rewatching it together every Thanksgiving. It's kind of our thing, so it's really special to me personally. Some episodes might be funnier, some might be more iconic, but this one, it's the complete package. It's endlessly quotable, holiday-centered, and moves at a breakneck pace without slowing down for a single moment, depending on your taste, of course. Coming in at number 2, we've got the one where Ross got high. Yet another episode where Chandler is kind of throwing a temper tantrum during Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't realize until this rewatch just how often these episodes use him as the dramatic punching bag, and honestly, it kind of starts to wear on you when you're marathoning them all in a row. But it is kind of deserved this time around. Also, just a small little point, but Ross and Joey pretending like they weren't playing video games in front of a hot girl is fucking lame and very 90s. Come on, video games rock. Like what you like. Grow up, you fucking losers. But that's just a little lame, nerdy nitpick from me. Back to the real episode, because what really makes this one shine is the structure. The best Thanksgiving episodes all have the same secret ingredient: everyone in the apartment. And here, every subplot ends up overlapping in the apartment, and the whole thing builds this natural momentum that lets the cast do what they do best: bounce off of each other with perfect timing. When Friends hits that flow state where every character has a role to play and every line ricochets into another laugh, it's untouchable. The Geller parents are also a massive part about why this episode is so high. Jack's deadpan obliviousness paired with Judy's gentle exasperation for the whole gang gives the whole dinner scene such texture, and Phoebe thirsting after Mr. Geller just pushes it over the edge. These two guest actors more than hold their own against the main six, which is no small feat. And at the climax of the episode, every subplot coalesces in a really, really funny way. Rachel's disastrous trifle dessert is iconic for a reason. Chandler trying and failing to impress the in-laws delivers a ton of great moments, and Ross framing Chandler for the weed is really funny, if not kind of an outdated joke about weed. Nobody really gets upset about weed like this anymore, but whatever. It's about Ross being a liar more than anything. Nothing feels wasted here. Each thread feeds into the next until it all snowballs into that perfect, chaotic after-dinner blow-up. The weed, the secrets, the trifle, it all collides into one of the most explosive, laugh-heavy climaxes in the entire series and on this list. And honestly, this episode just checks every box for what makes a Friends Thanksgiving episode great. It's consistently funny, it's covered in warm fall decor, it's centered on the group, and it's got that perfect mix of cozy and chaotic. You could put it on every year and it would still hit just as hard. My personal highlight will always be Joey actually liking Rachel's trifle. His "what's not to like" lives rent-free in my brain, and embarrassingly, I quote it far too often to my fiance. And here I go again, complimenting David Schwimmer one last time for being the MVP of the Friendsgiving episode format. His physicality is just unmatched. The way he twists simple lines into laugh-out-loud moments with his voice and expressions is insane. The secret trading scene between Ross and Monica, where they start exposing each other's lies to their parents, is a masterclass in escalation. I'll admit, I used to have this one ranked way lower, but revisiting it for this video completely changed my mind. It's so tightly written, expertly acted, and perfectly paced, and it's rooted in one of the most relatable Thanksgiving dynamics ever: trying not to embarrass yourself or your partner in front of your parents during the holidays. It's a knockout episode from start to finish, and easily one of the best the show ever pulled off. And somewhat surprisingly, at number 1, we've got the one with the late Thanksgiving, the final Friends Thanksgiving, and honestly, the last truly great episode of the series. I've never been shy about saying that season 10 overall doesn't exactly end the show on a creative high note. It's a decent enough goodbye, but it's clear the spark was fading. That said, good golly goddamn that they stick the landing with this one. This episode is just so funny, like laugh out loud, rewatch 5 times, quote it until your friends hate you kind of funny. And that's really the whole point, right? A sitcom's job, first and foremost, is to make you laugh. And this one does that better than any of the other Thanksgiving entries from me personally. Even though it doesn't hit every traditional Thanksgiving trope I usually look for, it earns the top spot on sheer comedic horsepower alone. And what's wild is that it completely breaks every rule I set up for this ranking. It starts with everyone doing their own separate thing, which I've made very clear I hate for these episodes, but here it works. Every side plot in the first half is intentionally setting up the group's eventual reunion. And Monica and Chandler's growing frustration with everyone being late mirrors what we, as the audience, are feeling. It's narratively smart, it's self-aware, and it's a perfect payoff when it all comes crashing down in the back half. The jokes in the back half of this episode are absolutely relentless. It just does not slow down. Joey realizing that Rachel and Phoebe have taken his old Cabbage Patch Kid outfit kills me every single time. The image of all the friends sticking their heads through the crack in the door is iconic Friends imagery. Joey ripping Ross's shirt pocket, the collective chaos of them trying to get Joey's head unstuck, the gang stuffing random objects into Joey's pants. It's that rare stretch of television where every single gag lands one after another. In a season where the show had clearly lost some of its spark, this episode feels like a reminder of just how sharp Friends could be when everyone was firing on all cylinders. Every joke, every reaction, every bit of timing is spot on. The second half, where the late arrivals try to weasel their way back into Thanksgiving dinner, is airtight. There's no side distractions, there's no weird B-plots, just 6 characters bouncing off each other like they've been doing it their entire lives. And that's what makes this one so special. It strips away all the external nonsense. No romantic subplots, no new characters, no soap opera filler, and just gives us the core 6 being their best selves. It's like the sitcom version of Avengers Endgame, the original team back together playing the hits and absolutely nailing it one last time. The ending is the perfect cherry on top. After all the chaos and bickering, Monica and Chandler get the call that they've been chosen for adoption. It's this unexpectedly sweet, emotional note that hits even harder because of all the laughter leading up to it. And maybe it's the nostalgia of knowing that this was their final Thanksgiving together, or maybe it's just that the writing is that sharp. But this episode completely won me over on a rewatch. I genuinely forgot how much of it I quote in my everyday life. You put turkey in people's mouths. Congratulations. Oh, I left them on my bulldozer. All of it's been living rent-free in my head for years, and I had no idea it comes from this episode. It's endlessly quotable, consistently hilarious, and shockingly tight for a 10th season episode of a show that had every right to be phoning it in by then. There isn't a wasted beat or a missed joke, and after a full rewatch, I can confidently say the one with the late Thanksgiving isn't just a great Friends episode, it is by far the best Friendsgiving episode ever made.
Yeah, I asked you and Phoebe to pick up the pies. You did remember, right?
Pies? Oh, we thought you said prize. Here.
Grand Supreme little darling.
Congratulations!
And that's my ranking of the Friends Thanksgiving episodes. But please leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree and what your favorite Thanksgiving episode is. And also leave a like on the video if you enjoy what I do here. It really helps let YouTube know it needs to show my videos to more wonderful people like you. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to Nostalgia Mode for more entertainment-related videos. Until next time,